I was reading this article and I was thinking I was in the gym a little while ago, and the women that are in the gym, they are dressed so scantily, man. And I understand everybody likes attention, and sex sells. There's an old saying: "Use what you have to get what you got." And sex is a very powerful tool, or lust is a very powerful tool to get what you want. But nonetheless, I was reading this after I got out the gym, and it makes sense. The powers that be. This is going to be a real short video, by the way. It's not going to be long at all. But the powers that be, they will stop at nothing to make money or exploit women, in certain cases men, to achieve wealth. And this has been going on since day one. But the point is, nothing is for free. In this country, nothing is for free, including sexual deviant pleasures. And in certain cases, even marriage. They say that marriage today is for broke people, broke and old people. In other words, if you're broke, if you can find someone to share expenses with or pay the bills with or make ends meet with, people get married. If you're old and you're over the hill and you don't want to be alone, people get married. Or if you're just trying to get money, period, sometimes people get married. Marriage is no longer an honorable institution where a man plays his role and a woman plays her role. Marriage is no longer, that no longer exists in most marriages. I'm not saying marriage is a bad thing, but I'm saying today there's no benefit, especially for men in this society where the courts are unfriendly legally to get married. So what do people do? They turn to sex and prostitution. And when I say sex, I mean in a wicked way, a defiled way. Here it says, sex sells is a common saying and marketing concept suggesting that incorporating sexual imagery or the theme in advertising can be an effective way, to grab attention. Is this a righteous way to grab attention, or is this a proper way to grab attention? No. It's based on your lust and your desire to, in certain cases, freak off, in certain cases, a jerk off, in certain cases, to satisfy your lustful desires. Sex sells. There's big money in sex, which brings me to what I initially was thinking of, or the story that's big, and they're trying to get rid of the story, is the Jeffrey Epstein case, Sex Island. And this shows that lustful desires is not just among the poor, it's among the super rich. The super rich who, just like you and me and any other person, is human. And they will fall to the tricks of the devil just like common man. Just like common man. You understand where I'm going? And I did a video some time ago. What's in the dark comes out into the light. What you try to hide away from the Most High, he will expose you eventually and make the world see just how sick you are. I'm not saying that, this is uncommon. This is very common today. But check out what they're saying. They're saying that Jeff Epstein was an agent. Just like who? Guess who? P. Diddy. Just like P. Diddy. P. Diddy was an agent. And he was strong-armed to secretly record people doing sexual deviant acts. So powerful people could have control of other powerful people. Maybe people involved in politics. Maybe people involved in the stock market. Maybe people involved in some type of wealth where they're needed to be controlled so other people can become more wealthy, or just in general, just to control those people. But check this out. Again, this is not going to be a long video. This is just on my mind.
A client list or anything that the Trump administration could release tonight? No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women.
So how do we know that powerful people above Jeff Epstein didn't force him to get a client list or to lure people through sex or sexual favors or sexual pleasures on Sex Island to blackmail these very powerful people by adding them onto a list or guest list and secretly recording them to do what other people want them to do? The same thing with P. Diddy. And I believe that P. Diddy, his life is in danger. He may have made a deal with the powers that be to reduce his sentence, and maybe he's cooperating, whereas Jeff Epstein is a different situation. I believe the man was murdered. And if you have common sense, you would believe that he was murdered as well. Especially since they're coming out with information, and it may be false, I think it's real, that he was an agent. And the puppeteers that controlled him used him to get information to blackmail very important people. At least that's what I believe. I'm not saying it's 100% factual. When I connect the dots, that's what I come with. That's what I come up with, YouTube. That's what I come up with. Check it out.
What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them from accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex.
Meaning sex with children. Perhaps sex with little boys. And Donald Trump was quick, very quick, to dismiss that reporter's question about Jeff Epstein in this situation. And it's just not going away. It's not going away. Like I mentioned earlier, when the banks were found to be dirty and they were lacking in money, and we know the banks are dirty. We know Wall Street is dirty. What did Obama promote? Or what was the phrase he held in the sky so the whole world would see and look the other way? The banks are too big to fail. If the banks fail, the country fails. If the banks collapse, the country collapses. They're saying that these men who allegedly was at Sex Island, they are so powerful, these bankers, these Wall Street tycoons, these super rich men, these corporate executives, these men are so powerful that if they were to be exposed for the wickedness that they have done, if they were to go to jail for the wickedness that they have done, that the country would fall and collapse. End of story. End of story. But if that was me or you on Sex Island freaking off, if that was me or you on Sex Island touching little girls, you would be under the jail. It shows you just how hypocritical this country is. It shows you that the Constitution is trash. It shows you that the laws in this country is absolute trash. It shows you this. And any fool that believes in this country, you deserve what you get. In Judgment Day, that is. This is why America must burn. America must burn. Clearly, they are hiding something. And the powers that be, no matter how hard they try to make it go away, the spirit of the Most High, the God and Creator, will not let it get out of the sight of people who are inquiring about what happened on Sex Island. Who was on this list? Who was being touched? Who was being violated? And perhaps who was being murdered? Who was being murdered? I was talking to a brother yesterday, a very good movie that you should watch that somewhat relates to this is the movie Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise. Great movie. You should check that out. Great movie. But you better believe they have shingnings and parties and freak-offs just like P. Diddy in the European white man's world. They do the same thing, even worse probably. You better believe in certain cases there are overdoses and murder of not just adults, but children in these areas of sexual entertainment. In certain cases, thirst and fulfillment and lust within certain individuals who attend these parties.
And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did all the investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is. And
he's a goddamn liar. He knows damn well what happened over there. Don't be fooled by these doctors and lawyers on CNN and Fox and here News Nations in regards to their calm demeanor. Inside of all three of these men hides the lustful beast of a demon. It's just that me and you and all of us, we keep the demon in check because we walk in the spirit of who they call Christ. But any man can be taken over by the beastly demon and get caught up into this nonsense if you are weak and if you have a price, meaning a weak point in your spirit. You understand what I'm saying? This is what the commercials are about. They're sexual. This is what the music is about. It's sexual. This is what the movies are about. It's sexual. This is what the tabloids are about. It's sexual. Sex sells. Sex sells. Let's go back here again. Sex sells is a common saying in marketing concepts suggesting that incorporating sexual imagery, freaky, nasty, whorish women, freaky, nasty, weirdo men, or themes in advertising can be an effective way to grab attention and increase sales, to grab your spirit through lust, to grab your spirit to you feeling an itch that needs to be scratched, to grab your attention when you're in a weak, beastly state. This is what I was talking about yesterday when I was saying that the Lord, he breathed, he hit Adam in the nostrils, meaning his spirit, with the breath of life, and Adam became a living soul in the spirit of Christ. That's the key. That's the protection. But when you don't have that breath, when you don't have that spirit, you are an animal. This is why I also quoted in Ezekiel 37, when the Lord breathed the breath of life into the children of Israel in the valley of dry bones, meaning the low state they were in, Israel became a stand-up living army, ready to serve the Most High in righteousness. And without God and just bread, and without God and just food, and without God and just sex, and without God and just movies, and without God and just music, you are an animal because you are without God. And you are open to sex that sells. You are open to prostitution. You are open to different forms of wicked behavior. It's 1 and 1 equals 2. Says to grab their attention and increase sales, even if the product itself isn't inherently sexual. It plays on the idea that sex is a powerful motivator. See that? And that sexual content, even if not directly relevant, can make a product or brand more appealing. This is why certain clothes sell so regularly, as whorish as clothes can be. Women today, they walk half naked in the street because sex is powerful. And the urge to buy sexy clothing to attract attention and to make money is irresistible to the weak-minded. This is why women dress the way they dress. It's hot outside. You're going to see all type of booty hugging shorts. You're going to see all types of outfits that reveal breasts. You're going to see outfits that go perfectly with your BBLs if you're into that. You're going to see tattoos right over the crack of the buttocks of certain women on the breasts because sex sells and sex makes money. And sex can be used as a tool to force you in a position to be blackmailed. If people followed the Bible, men and women, I'm not just attacking women. If people followed the Bible and believed in the Bible and kept the laws of the Most High, you would have hardly any problems. Because the Bible and its laws have stop signs or do not enter on many of the acts that God hates. But this is why the Bible is dismissed and no one wants to deal with in the Bible, because it is hated. Because this is a wicked world, and this wicked world survives and thrives on sex, murder, lies, and thievery. This was not always the case with our people. We have learned customs of the heathen that are contrary to the customs of our forefathers. This is the Roman Empire all over again. This is the Greco-Roman Empire all over again. You could say it's not, but look around. It says it plays, meaning sex plays on the ideal that sex is a powerful motivator, and that sexual contact, even if not directly relevant, can make a product or brand more appealing. This concept has been widely used across various media. This concept or ideal or wicked concept or wicked ideal has been widely used across various media and industry. Who mainly owns these medias and these industries? What nationality of people mainly own these areas where they're making billions and billions of dollars? I'll let you decide that on your own. From fashion and beauty and food and beverages. So somebody's making big money off of sexual deviant behavior, or the lure to go through the doors and enter into the realm of sexual deviant behavior. Somebody is making big money. Somebody. Check it out.
Mr. Z, I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions could be...
That's a goddamn lie. You think these devils, if they have the power to blackmail someone, there's not going to be a list? That's a goddamn lie. There is a list. And I don't have the proof. I don't have the resources, but you cannot tell me there isn't videos. You cannot tell me that. And I believe children are involved. But since this man is dead, they're going to put it all on him and hope it goes away. And it's not going away so fast.
Undone if you go to court. So
this is why I canceled my DoorDash subscription and switched to...
All right, sorry about that. Let's get rid of that.
Suppressed or being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan. And they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information.
So crimes have been committed, possibly, I'm not saying it is, possibly against children, young boys and young girls. Crimes have been committed, including pedophilia, and a judge has put a gag order on him not to reveal crimes that have been committed. People are not going to jail for crimes that have been committed. If this was ordinary Main Street characters involved in these criminal activities, they would go to jail. But because it's Wall Street, not Main Street, because it's big money on Wall Street, not Main Street, there's big money in the banking industry, or people who are connected to politics, no one is going to jail. How does that make sense? How does that even make sense? Court documents reveal names of powerful men allegedly linked to Jeffrey Epstein. It says our court documents made public on Wednesday disclose the names of dozens of powerful men with alleged connections to convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who died by suicide in 2019. Did he die by suicide? Connect the dots and add the figures. Powerful men connected to Jeffrey Epstein on a list that could be revealed by a man they're labeling as a sex trafficker who has died out of the blue in 2019. You think he really just hung himself? Federal Judge Loretta Preska in Manhattan unsealed the documents revealing the names of numerous individuals described in a 2015 civil lawsuit as associates, affiliates, or victims of Epstein. The documents include reference to former President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump and magician David Copperfield, Prince Andrew, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, actor Kevin Spacey, lawyer Alan Dershowitz. I think that's who was just speaking on the line. That was Alan Dershowitz that was in the last video, I believe. The late New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson and former Vice President Al Gore. Al Gore, the greenhouse guy, the disaster coming to Earth because of gases and fumes and waste in America and in China. And this is among others. The fact that people were named in these documents doesn't mean any of them face allegations or evidence of wrongdoing. You see that? But I guarantee you, if they dug deeper, a lot of heads would roll. A lot of heads would roll. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. That's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Here's another one. Tucker Carlson suggests Jeff Epstein was working with Mossad. They're saying he was an agent. It's not hard to believe. They say that P. Diddy is an agent. How many of you heard that before? Not hard to believe. This is a very powerful tool in a way to lure powerful people into sex traps. And once you lure them into the sex trap and you pull the cord and they get trapped up, it's an excellent way to have something over them, to blackmail them, to have them move money the right way or the wrong way, or have them move money how you want them to move money, to have them pass bills and laws that you want passed that they would never have done in the first place. Sex sells. And because of their weak, feeble nature and the lust that was in them, they thought they was getting something possibly for free. And look where they're at now. There's a chance that the guillotine may fall and it may be off with their heads politically and even freedom-wise. But I doubt that very much. This country is so dirty and they have so much to hide. I doubt that very, very much. Pundit turned conspiracy theorist posits the Jerusalem Dispatch convicted sex offender as part of blackmail op demands it comes clean, separately takes swipe at dual citizen IDF vets. Right-wing U.S. pundit Tucker Carlson suggests that the late notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein had been working for Israel intelligence services throughout the years in which he was allegedly sexually abusing and trafficking underage girls, adding fuel to the fire that has erupted among conspiracy theorists, it's conspiracy theorists now, in recent days around the disgraced financier. Carlson, an ex-Fox News host and conspiracy theorist, was speaking at Turning Point USA Student Action Summit on Friday when he turned to the matter of Jeffrey Epstein, who died by suicide in 2019 while awaiting trial on charges of sex trafficking minors. Epstein's life death have made headlines again in recent days after U.S. President Donald Trump administration decided to withhold records, even though he promised, But again, it says President Donald Trump administration decided to withhold records from the investigation and claimed that Epstein's much hyped client list had never existed in the first place. Bull crap. Bull crap. There's a lot of people who need to go to jail. There are a lot of people who need to be exposed. There are a lot of people guilty of wicked pedophilia acts. Excuse my language. Shouldn't have said that word with YouTube. Check it out.
Yes, I do smell a rat. And I'd like to know why no one in the media is talking about the investigation. Or
because the media is controlled by the so-called JEW people. The small hats. It's controlled by them. And just the news and the media outlets are controlled. And guess what? Donald Trump is controlled, whether you believe that or not. Go back again.
To know why no one in the media is talking about the investigation, or the fact that there should have been an investigation into whether or not Jeffrey Epstein was working for a foreign intelligence service.
So that's really interesting. So look, you've studied into this. What is the evidence that he might have been?
He is a textbook example of an access agent. You're, like I said the last time I was on the show, Piers, you're not going to recruit Bill Clinton. You're not going to recruit Bill Gates. You're not going to recruit Alan Dershowitz. But you can recruit someone who gets close to those people. You can give them something that you can hold over their heads if you have to in the end. And then you report back to your handlers everything that they say.
That's what I believe happened with P. Diddy, among other things as well. But blackmail is real. And a lot of people, you wonder why a lot of people don't come clean and do the right thing. A lot of times they're in bad situations. We've all heard the sayings, you don't know what a person is going through. And there are people, even among us in this faith, who have done bad things and are working for the government, who have done wicked things and are working for the government. And there's nothing you can do to make them better because they are too weak. If they believed in Christ and they were once into Christ, Yahweh Shai, if they at one time in their life were into Yahweh, the Most High, they would repent and get themselves right in the spirit of the Most High and just deal with the consequences that would come from the devil. But the fear, because that's what the government uses, the fear of going to prison, the fear of being put to death, the fear of being raped in jail, just like they have done to little boys and little girls, is too overwhelming. The fear of being broke and poor and the shame and the guilt that comes with being exposed is too great to deal with. So they sell their souls to the devil and they continue down this wicked rabbit hole of evil to the point where they're used up or mysteriously they die. Mysteriously they die. So this is a very treacherous game that they play, but at the same time, it's a battle between good and evil. So you decide what you believe and what you think this is all about. I think there's a lot of murder. I think there's a lot of children being violated. I think it's a lot of everything, man. So you decide. I'm out.